Welcome to Fam Fantasy, where transformation, elegance, and self-discovery come to life. My name is Alex, and if you told me a year ago that my life would unravel and rebuild itself in the span of 7 days, I'd have laughed it off as some rom-com plot twist too wild to be real. But here I am, sitting in our sun-dappled apartment overlooking the city skyline, my fingers tracing the edge of a silky scarf that still carries the faint scent of lavender from that first boutique visit, and I can't deny it, Riley changed everything. Not just my wardrobe or the way I carry myself, but the core of who I thought I was. She didn't force it, she guided it, with that unshakable confidence of hers, turning what started as a playful dare into a mirror I couldn't look away from. Riley's always been the alpha in our duo, the one who charges ahead while I trail behind, sketching ideas in my notebook or losing myself in a book. She's got this electric energy, tall and lean from years of rock climbing, with cropped auburn hair that frames her sharp jawline and those emerald eyes that seem to see right through you. Me? I'm the soft counterpoint, average build, messy brown hair that never quite cooperates, and a quiet demeanor that served me well in my freelance illustration gigs. We'd been together for 3 years, comfortable in our rhythms, but comfortable can sometimes feel like stagnant. And Riley? She thrives on evolution. It kicked off on an ordinary Thursday evening, the kind where the autumn chill seeps through the windows and you crave something warm to shake off the week's grind. I'd just wrapped up a deadline, collapsing onto the couch with a sigh, when Riley burst through the door, her cheeks flushed from the brisk walk home from her marketing job downtown. She dropped her bag with a thud and fixed me with that grin, the one that says trouble's brewing, but the good kind. "Alex," she said, kicking off her boots and patting over in her socks, "I've been thinking. We're in a rut. Not us, but your style. It's all hoodies and jeans, like you're hiding from the world." I chuckled, pulling her down beside me for a quick kiss. "What's wrong with comfy?" She propped herself up on an elbow, her eyes locking onto mine with that intensity that always makes my stomach do a little flip. "Nothing, if you're a college freshman. But you're 28, talented, and way too gorgeous to blend into the wallpaper. So, here's the deal, 7 days. I get to feminize you. Completely. Outfits, hair, makeup, the works. No backing out, but I'll make it fun. Promise." I blinked, the word feminize hanging in the air like a challenge. It wasn't the first time she'd teased about my delicate features, high cheekbones, full lips, lashes that girls in high school used to envy, but this felt different. Deeper. "You're serious?" I asked, half laughing to mask the sudden knot of nerves in my chest. She nodded, her expression a mix of playfulness and something almost tender. "Dead serious. Think of it as an experiment. What if you discover a side of yourself you've been ignoring? Come on, trust me." Her hand found mine, warm and steady, and in that moment, with the city lights flickering on outside, I nodded. How could I not? Riley's visions always led to magic. Day 1 dawned with a deceptive normalcy. I woke to the smell of pancakes, Riley's go-to for big mornings, and found her in the kitchen, humming along to some indie playlist, a stack of clothes folded neatly on the counter. "Breakfast first, then the reveal," she announced, sliding a plate my way. We ate in companionable silence at first, but as the last bite disappeared, she pushed the pile toward me, a soft peach button-down shirt, slim black trousers that looked suspiciously tailored, and a pair of loafers I'd swear were from the women's section. "Start simple," she said, her voice light but her eyes watchful, like she was gauging every flicker of my reaction. I retreated to the bedroom, heart thudding a rhythm that echoed my uncertainty. Slipping into the shirt, I felt the fabric whisper against my skin, cotton, but finer than anything in my closet, with pearl buttons that gleamed under the light. The trousers hugged my legs without squeezing, ending in a subtle flare that made my steps feel lighter. In the mirror, I didn't look like a drag caricature. I looked polished, like someone who'd stepped out of a catalog for creative professionals. A version of me, but elevated. Softer around the edges. I emerged, arms crossed self-consciously, and Riley clapped once, sharp and delighted. "Look at you. Turn around. Yes, the pants give you this amazing line." She circled me, adjusting the collar with gentle tugs, her touch sending little sparks along my nerves. "Now, for the fun part." From her bag, she produced a small velvet pouch, a silver chain necklace with a tiny pendant, shaped like a leaf. "Wear this. It's neutral, but it'll add that spark." I hesitated, fingers brushing the cool metal, but the way she watched me, patient, encouraging, made me clasp it around my neck. It settled against my collarbone, a subtle weight that felt like a secret.
"We didn't stay in."
"Time to test it out," Riley declared, grabbing her keys. Our destination was a little art supply store I'd frequented for years, the kind where the owner knew me by name and my go-to charcoal sticks. As we walked the 3 blocks, the breeze tugged at the shirt's hem, and I caught my reflection in shop windows, unfamiliar, yet intriguing. Inside the store, Mr. Hargrove glanced up from his ledger. "Alex, new look." His tone was gruff but approving, no trace of mockery. "Suits you, kid. Makes you look like one of those illustrators in the fancy mags." I mumbled a thanks, my face heating, but Riley beamed beside me, selecting brushes and pads like nothing was amiss.
On the way home, she linked her arm through mine. "See? The world didn't end. And you glowed in there."
I wanted to argue, to say it felt exposing, but there was truth in her words. For the first time in ages, I hadn't slouched into invisibility. That afternoon, while she worked on emails, I sketched in the living room, the necklace swaying as I leaned in. The lines came easier, bolder, figures with graceful poses, fabrics that draped like invitations. Dinner was takeout sushi on the balcony, the city humming below us. "Day 1 down," Riley said, clinking her water glass against mine.
6 more to go.
"What's your honest take?" I paused, chopsticks midway to my mouth.
"It's weird."
"Good weird. Like peeking behind a curtain I didn't know was there." She smiled, slow and knowing. "That's the hook. Tomorrow, we reel you in a little more." Sleep came fitful that night, dreams fragmented with mirrors and half-seen silhouettes, me chasing a shadow that wore my face but moved with Riley's stride. Day 2 brought escalation, wrapped in the mundane routine of our morning coffee. Riley was up before me, the kitchen bathed in golden light, and she'd laid out the next ensemble on the bed. A light sage green blouse with subtle pleats at the shoulders, paired with chinos in a soft gray, and, my breath caught, a pair of ankle boots with a modest heel. Heels on day 2. I groaned, but there was no real protest in it. Curiosity had taken root overnight. She laughed from the doorway, arms crossed. "Just an inch. Builds character."
Literally.
The blouse was silk blend, cool and fluid, draping over my frame in a way that accentuated my shoulders without broadening them. The chinos were forgiving, but the boots? They forced a shift in my posture, back straighter, steps more deliberate. Each click on the hardwood floor echoed like a metronome, syncing my pulse to this new rhythm. Riley watched from the couch, nodding approval. "Perfect. Now, hair." Before I could ask, she was behind me with a comb and some product, a lightweight mousse that added texture, coaxing my waves into something tousled but intentional. "There," she murmured, fingers lingering at my nape. "You look like you belong on a book cover." Our outing was to the farmer's market, a weekly ritual we'd shared for years, but today it felt charged, like stepping onto a stage mid-rehearsal. The stalls brimmed with autumn bounty, pumpkins in fiery oranges, apples crisp and red, the air thick with cinnamon from nearby vendors. I kept pace with Riley, the boots giving me an unintended sway that made me hyper-aware of every glance. Did the vendor handing over our cider see through it? Did the family picnicking nearby whisper? But no, the world moved on, oblivious or accepting. A woman in a floral apron even complimented the blouse. "Lovely color on you, brings out your eyes." My thanks came out softer than intended, laced with a lilt I hadn't planned. Riley squeezed my elbow, her whisper hot against my ear. "Told you. You're a natural." We wandered for hours, sampling cheeses and breads, the conversation dipping into deeper waters. "Remember that time in college when you borrowed my scarf for a costume party?" she asked, popping a grape into her mouth. I nodded, the memory surfacing. Me, awkward in thrift store finds, but secretly thrilled by the disguise. "You owned it then, too. This is just extending the invitation." Her words planted seeds of doubt and delight. Was this a costume, or a costume I'd been wearing backward all along? By midday, fatigue set in, not from the walking, but the emotional pull. Back home, I kicked off the boots with relief, but as I massaged my arches, I caught Riley watching me, her expression a blend of pride and something vulnerable. "You're doing this for me, right?" I asked suddenly, the question slipping out. She knelt beside the chair, her hands covering mine.
"For us. For you to see what I see every day."
That touch, that honesty, It anchored me, even as the waves of change lapped higher. The evening unwound slowly, a deliberate pause before the storm. We cooked together, pasta with fresh basil from the market, the kitchen filled with steam and laughter as sauce splattered and wine glasses clinked. But midway through chopping garlic, Riley pulled out her makeup bag, a sleek black case I'd seen her use for work events. "One more layer," she said, perching me on a stool. My protest died on my lips as she started with a primer, her fingers cool and precise on my skin. "This evens everything out," she explained, dabbing foundation with a sponge, blending until my complexion looked luminous, flaws softened like they'd never been. Then concealer under my eyes, a touch of bronzer to contour my cheeks. "Breathe," she murmured when I tensed at the mascara wand, its bristles coaxing my lashes into dramatic fans. Finally, a nude lipstick, matte and subtle, that made my mouth feel fuller, more defined. She stepped back, handing me the hand mirror. The face staring back was mine, but refined, eyes brighter, skin glowing, lips inviting a smile I hadn't earned yet. "Holy shit," I whispered, tracing the edge of my jaw. It looked less angular, more approachable. Riley's grin was triumphant. "Right? You're not just wearing clothes, Alex. You're stepping into them." We ate by candlelight, the makeup holding through bites and sips, and for the first time, compliments felt like mirrors reflecting back a truth I'd dodged. As we cleared the dishes, her hand brushed my arm, lingering. Day 2, conquered. But tomorrow? We go public. The hook sank deeper, pulling me toward the unknown with a thrill that bordered on fear. Night 2 brought dreams again, vivid and tangled. Me in a crowded room, layers peeling away like onion skins, each revealing a softer core, Riley's voice echoing, "Keep going." I woke with a start to rain pattering against the window, the gray light filtering in like a veil. Day 3, Riley announced over scrambled eggs, was embodiment day. The outfit was a step bolder, a lavender-wrapped dress, knee-length and cinched at the waist with a tie belt, paired with ballet flats in matching patent leather. "Dress," I echoed, holding the hanger like it might bite. The fabric was jersey knit, stretchy and forgiving, but the V-neck and flutter sleeves screamed femininity. "It's versatile," she coaxed, helping me step into it, her fingers deft at the knot. "And it flatters your build, shows off those collarbones." In the mirror, the dress hugged my torso before flaring at the hips, creating curves where I'd only seen straight lines before. It moved with me, a constant swish that made sitting or turning feel like a dance. She added accessories, pearl studs that clipped easily, a thin bracelet that jingled faintly, and a spritz of her light floral perfume. "Scent seals it," she said, her nose brushing my neck. The full effect? I looked like I could walk into a brunch or a gallery opening and belong. We headed to a bookstore cafe, one of our haunts, but today it loomed like a proving ground. The rain had eased to a drizzle, misting my hair as we dashed from the car, the dress's hem brushing my knees in a way that heightened every sensation. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of pages and espresso, soft jazz underscoring the murmur of patrons. I ordered a chai latte, voice pitched softer without thinking, and the barista, a guy with tattoos snaking up his arms, smiled warmly. "Coming right up, miss." "Miss." The word landed like a pebble in still water, ripples spreading through my chest. I slid into the booth across from Riley, cheeks burning. "Did you hear that?" She nodded, her foot nudging mine under the table. "And?" World still spinning. We spent the next 2 hours browsing, me trailing fingers over spines in the poetry section, the bracelet catching on book jackets. A fellow customer, an older woman with a stack of mysteries, struck up a conversation about local authors, treating me like an equal, her eyes crinkling in shared enthusiasm. No side eyes, no awkward pauses. Just connection. But as we left, arms laden with new reads, the high crashed. In the car, I confessed, it's like I'm borrowing someone else's confidence. What if I give it back and nothing's left? Riley's grip on the wheel tightened briefly. Or what if you realize it's yours all along? That's the twist, Alex. Lean into it. Her words were a lifeline, but the doubt lingered, a shadow trailing us home. Afternoon bled into a styling session, Riley turning our bedroom into a makeshift salon. She taught me the makeup routine step by step, moisturizer first, then primer, her hands guiding mine over the foundation. "Light layers," she instructed, watching as I blended blush onto my cheeks, the pink bloom making me look flushed with life. Eyeshadow next, a neutral taupe to deepen my lids, and eyeliner in a thin wing that she praised as fierce. By the end, I was doing it solo, the mirror showing a face that smiled back with ease. We lounged after, her head in my lap as I read aloud from one of the books, my free hand twirling a strand of her hair. The intimacy felt amplified, the dress's fabric pooling around us like a shared secret. Dinner was homemade stir-fry, chopsticks clicking as we debriefed. "You're quieter today," she noted, concern edging her voice.
I set my bowl down. It's hitting me, how much I've suppressed.
Like, as a kid, I'd watch my sister dress up and feel this pull, but I'd shove it down because boys don't.
She listened, eyes soft, then pulled me close. That's why this matters.
Unshackling. As night fell, the rain resumed, drumming a lullaby, but sleep evaded me. What if unshackling meant losing the old Alex entirely? The question hung, suspense coiling tight. Day 4 shattered the quiet with a bang. Riley's best friend was hosting a reinvention-themed house party, and we were going as a pair of transformed souls. "Costume optional, authenticity required," she quoted the invite, but her eyes sparkled with plans. The outfit she unveiled was a showstopper, an emerald-sheathed dress, middle-length with a boat neck and cap sleeves, in a velvet that shimmered under light. "Glam time," she declared, laying out stockings and mid-heel pumps. The dress zipped up smooth, molding to my body like a second skin, the green deepening my hazel eyes in the mirror. Stockings first, silky sheaths that whispered up my legs, held by a garter I fumbled with until Riley's laugh helped. The pumps added 3 inches, shifting my center of gravity, but practice in the hall steadied me, the click echoing confidence. Hair next, she clipped in extensions, blending my waves into a cascade that brushed my shoulders, then curled the ends for bounce. Makeup was full artistry, smoky eyes with gold flecks, contour to sculpt my face, lips in a berry stain that popped. When she finished, she named me. "Meet Alexa." Or Lexi, for short.
Lexi.
It rolled off her tongue like destiny, and in that moment, staring at the poised woman in the glass, I felt it click. Not replacement, but revelation. The party was in a loft downtown, string lights twinkling against exposed brick, music pulsing low and groovy. We arrived arm in arm, Riley in a sharp tuxedo pantsuit that made her look like a film noir heroine. Heads turned, not in shock, but admiration. "Love the vibe," a guest gushed, clinking glasses with Lexami. The night unfolded in a haze of laughter and stories. I chatted with artists about technique, the dress's fabric brushing guests as I gestured animatedly, heels forgotten in the flow. A slow song pulled Riley and me to the floor, her hands on my waist, our bodies sinking in a sway that felt electric, intimate. "You're magnetic," she breathed, her forehead against mine. But midway through, doubt crept back. A friend from her work squinted. "Alex? No way, you clean up fierce." The almost recognition sent a jolt, but Riley's squeeze grounded me. "Own it," she whispered. We slipped out early, buzzed on the high, rain-slick streets reflecting our silhouettes. In the car, tears pricked my eyes, not sadness, but overwhelm.
I felt alive in there.
Like Lexi isn't pretend. Riley parked abruptly, turning to cup my face. "She's not. She's you," unlocked. The kiss that followed was soft, affirming, sealing the night's magic. But as we drove on, the hook twisted. How deep did this go? What waited on the other side of day 5? Day 5 was introspection wrapped in silk, a full day at home as Lexi, no escape to normalcy. Riley curated a wardrobe of loungewear, a kimono robe over a camisole and palazzo pants, all in soft ivories that flowed like water. "Embody her," she said, tying the robe's sash with a flourish. Barefoot for comfort, but with painted toes and a pale rose polish she'd applied that morning, I moved through the apartment like a ghost in my own life. We started with yoga, her leading a gentle flow on the living room rug, the robe parting with each warrior pose, exposing vulnerability. "Breathe into it," she coached, her mat beside mine, our eyes meeting in downward dog. The stretches pulled not just muscles but emotions, stretches of memory, like the time I'd secretly tried on my mom's heels at 13, heart racing with forbidden joy. After, over green tea on the couch, I spilled it all. The hidden sketchbooks filled with androgynous figures, the envy of friends' sisters with their effortless grace. Riley listened, her hand on my knee, tears glistening in her eyes.
"I knew there was more to you."
"This isn't changing you, it's finding you." The afternoon dissolved into creative time. I illustrated while she edited photos, the kimono's sleeves billowing as my pencil flew, lines freer than ever. But solitude hit when she stepped out for groceries, alone as Lexi. I paced, the mirror mocking my flux.
Panic bubbled. Was this addiction or awakening?
Her return with arms full of produce broke the spell, but the question echoed. Evening brought a ritual. Journaling by candlelight, prompts she'd written like, "What does Lexi whisper when Alex quiets?" My pages filled with raw truths, fears of judgment, thrills of possibility, the ache of half-lived authenticity. Riley shared hers, vulnerabilities about her own alpha mask cracking under pressure. "I push because I love," she admitted, voice cracking. We ended curled on the bed, her fingers tracing patterns on my arm through the camisole, sleep claiming us in tangled limbs. Dreams that night were gentler. Lexi and Alex dancing, not fighting for space, but merging in light. Day 6 ramped the stakes, a salon appointment Riley had booked weeks ago, at Aura Transformations, a discreet spot known for inclusive makeovers. "Full service," she said over breakfast, the outfit a casual midi-skirt and blouse in chambray, flats for the drive. The skirt's A-line swished with every step, a constant reminder as we navigated traffic. The salon smelled of eucalyptus and possibility, Mia the stylist greeting us like old friends, tall, with purple-streaked hair and a vibe that screamed ally. "Let's see what we're working with," she said, settling me in the chair. Eyebrows first. Wax strips ripped away years of neglect, shaping arches that lifted my expression instantly. "Feminine but fierce," Mia approved. Then a facial, steam and masks drawing out impurities, my skin emerging dewy and radiant. Manicure followed, nails filed to ovals, coated in a sheer gloss that caught the light. "Subtle power," Riley murmured from the waiting area. "The highlight?" "Hair," Mia trimmed my ends for health, added highlights in caramel to warm my tones, then styled in loose waves with a blowout that added volume I'd never known. When the cape came off, I stared. The face, the hair, the hands, it was cohesive, undeniable. Lexi stared back, vibrant and whole. Tears welled, unbidden. "It's too much," I choked, but Mia hugged me. "Or just enough." Riley paid, her arm around my waist as we left, the city blurring through happy haze. Back home, the high sustained through a photoshoot, Riley behind her camera, directing poses in the golden hour, light pouring through windows. "Chin up, eyes soft," she'd call, the skirt twirling as I spun. The images later? Stunning, me, captured in motion, joy radiating. But as dusk fell, emotion crested. Over wine, non-alcoholic, her rule for clarity, I broke. "What if this ends and I can't go back? Or worse, what if I don't want to?" She pulled me onto her lap, her strength enveloping. "Then we build forward. Together. This isn't a game anymore, it's us." The vulnerability in her voice cracked me open, subs shaking until exhaustion won. Sleep came deep, restorative, the precipice of day 7 looming like promise. The finale was the crescendo, Riley's company gala, black tie affair at a historic hotel ballroom, where she'd present her latest campaign. "You'll be my +1 as Lexi," she said, unveiling the gown, a sapphire chiffon number, floor-length with a sweetheart neckline and lace overlay, ethereal yet elegant. "All in," I agreed, the word tasting like surrender. Getting ready was a ceremony. Shower first, then lotion scented with vanilla, the gown slipping over shaved legs, a day 6 impulse. Riley did my makeup. Flawless base, smoky eyes with silver shimmer, lips in deep crimson. The wig she'd sourced, long, raven waves, cascaded perfectly, pinned with crystal combs. Heels last, strappy and 4 inches, but practice paid off. I walked like I'd been born in them. In the full-length mirror, Lexi bloomed, poised, powerful, the gown pooling like midnight waves. Riley, in a tailored red gown that hugged her like fire, took my breath. "My muse," she whispered, pinning a corsage to my bodice. "Ready to conquer." The ballroom glittered, chandeliers dripping light, gowns swirling in waltzes, the air humming with champagne toasts. We entered on her arm, heads high, and the room seemed to pause, then applaud with nods and smiles. "Who's your stunning date?" a colleague asked, and Riley's reply, "My partner, Lexi," sent pride surging. We networked seamlessly. I discussed design trends with XX, the gown's fabric sighing with gestures, heels steady on marble floors. Riley's presentation was electric, her slides popping with visuals I'd secretly contributed sketches for, and when she thanked my inspiration, Lexi, applause thundered. The dance floor called after, a slow foxtrot, her lead firm, our bodies weaving through couples. "You've transformed me too," she confessed mid-spin, eyes locked. "Seeing you free? It's everything." Joy crested, but so did the undercurrent. This was peak, but what valley followed? As midnight neared, we slipped to the balcony, city sprawl twinkling below. "Week's over," I said, voice thick. The gown's lace itched faintly, a reminder of layers. She turned me to face her, hands framing my cheeks, careful of the makeup.
"Is it?
Or is this the start?" Emotion choked me, fear of loss, thrill of gain, love for her fierceness.
"I don't know who I am tomorrow," I admitted.
"But with you, I want to find out." Her kiss was salt and silk, sealing vows unspoken. We drove home in silence, the gown rumpled but unbroken, dawn breaking as we shed the night. Epilogue whispers now, months later, Lexi and Alex coexist, days blending skirts with slacks, makeup optional but ever-present in confidence. Riley's alpha heart swells with our shared evolution, and me?
I've never felt more whole.
7 days sparked it, but the fire?
That's ours to tend.
And bro, if life's a story, this chapter? It's the one that hooked me for good.